Since morning on many television channels, there are a lot of people who say we feel sorry for Sanjay Dutt. My question on the Newshour debate tonight is this. By keeping on talking about how sorry one feels for Sanjay Dutt, how much sympathy one has for Sanjay Dutt, does one discount the gravity of the offence that has been carried out by Sanjay Dutt? Majid Memon, senior advocate, has been part of this trial in the past. Ujjwal Nigam has been special public prosecutor in this case. YC Pawar, former Joint Commissioner of Police, few people know this case as well as YC Pawar does. Mahesh Bhatt, filmmaker, he also feels sorry for Sanjay Dutt, he said this morning. My first question is to Ram Jethmalani. Mr. Jethmalani,
yes.
Now you too this morning were expressing your regret. You said the court hasn't been unfair on him, but you also feel sorry for him. Now one can feel sorry for a convict, but does that discount what the person has done in this case, Sanjay Dutt?
I'll tell you, Arnab, why I feel sorry. Because one of the purposes of punishment is also reformation and not merely retribution. And I believe that this boy, after this conviction, has had no possible connection with terrorism or terrorists. He seems to have given up all his previous friendships, and he has now established himself as a fairly successful operator in Bollywood. And I think that it was a case in which perhaps the court could have been generous in reducing the sentence. And whether they should have reduced it to a sentence already undergone or even a sentence of 2 years or 2.5 years, but to retain a sentence of 5 years after the sword of Damocles has been hanging over him for so long, I think it's a little unkind. I don't know how the case was presented to the Supreme Court, but on the other hand, if you ask me about merits, Arnab, you are absolutely right. I have appeared for this young man at some stage in the original case when it was before the trial court. I personally think that he acted very, very foolishly in accepting delivery of those arms and receiving them from people who themselves are accused of terrorism. And then he tried to destroy that gun and so on and melt it. It doesn't create a good impression.
Yeah, but Mr. Jethmalani,
I believe
you're indulging him. You're being very indulgent.
The courts were already kind to him. Well, I am indulgent. Sunil Dutt was a great friend of mine. I can't help being indulgent to this boy. I can tell you that. I must confess that my sympathy for him may be a little misplaced or even irrational. But it is very, very natural.
Okay.
Particularly after so many years.
Yep. I understand where you're coming from.
All that I wish to tell you. But I personally think that the lower courts have been kind to him when they dropped the charge under the TADA against him.
Mr. Jethmalani, you are such an experienced man. I don't like crossing swords with you. In fact, I'm worried of crossing swords with you on legal issues. But I'm afraid I must tonight, Mr. Jethmalani, because I want to take one point. A point of order on this would be, Majid Memon, my follow-up question. I feel Ram Jethmalani is terribly indulgent tonight. And this is why. Because two women, Mr. Memon, two women convicted for the same crime like Sanjay Dutt, that is illegal possession of arms while not being involved in the conspiracy, were awarded 5 years rigorous imprisonment by the TADA court. And the TADA court judge said the sentence was a lenient one, considering the age of Qazi, 64 years. So how can one be so lenient on Sanjay Dutt and so tough on the others?
If you would permit me a couple of minutes, I'll just express myself, and substantially I endorse what Mr. Ram Jethmalani has said. I would also add a couple of things. Why sympathies for Sanjay Dutt? Now please understand that Sanjay Dutt has not been held guilty for any terrorist or disruptive activities act. He was only convicted even by the trial court for illegal possession of a weapon, which was a foolish act, as rightly called by Mr. Jethmalani. Now, listen, 1 minute, Arnav, please give me one more minute. Now, see, 18 months, not only he spent in prison already during the past, but 18 years thereafter, or in all totality of almost 20 years now, he has suffered immensely in his career. And believe me,
so what?
Every time for the past more than a decade, 1 minute, for more than a decade, he had to apply to the court for seeking permission to do his daily course of having some kind of shooting outside India. Now, was this not enough punishment?
No, it was not.
Please look at it from this point of view.
No, it was not.
And secondly, you see, very important, as rightly pointed out, that look here, what purpose is going to be served if a man has made a mistake in the past and has suffered this much? I can understand.
Sir, I don't
if
understand.
He was found guilty of terrorist act.
Sir, I'm very sorry.
For him.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Majid Memon. You are not just being indulgent, you are being super indulgent. You are forgetting the fact that in July 2010, the CBI sought enhancement in punishment for Zebun-Nisa Qazi, while it did not challenge the punishment handed out to Sanjay Dutt by the Tada court.
That's wrong on the part of CBI.
What this proves,
CBI has made a mistake.
No, sir.
CBI has made a mistake of asking for enhancement of Zebun-Nisa.
No.
I entirely disagree with that.
No.
But then that would not mean that you should fall on Sanjay Dutt.
No, sir. This is, I'm sorry to say this, celebrity, VVIP, film star come MP's son. And somebody will say, 1 minute, sir. Somebody will say, Sanjay Dutt is given special preferential treatment by the CBI. I want to get in Majid Memon, with your permission, Ujwal Nigam. Ujwal Nigam, what do you respond to the initial observations of Majid Memon in this case? You've been special public prosecutor as well.
Arnav, I am really sorry to note that both my learned friends are expressing their regret for the sentence that has been awarded to senior actor. In fact, I have rather constrained to say that indirectly we are glorifying the image of a criminal. I'm sorry to use this adjective as a criminal because he possessed and acquired the weapon from such person who are deeply involved in the criminal conspiracy behind the blast of 93. Why he had acquired the weapon? Only as a hobby? No, that's not a correct picture. He not only acquired the weapon AK-46 rifle, but he acquired certain hand grenades. He kept certain hand grenades with him for 2 days. Again, he returned to those. That entire evidence is there. Not only his own confession, coupled with other incriminating corroborative evidence. That unfortunately, the trial court, that is the Tada judge, has only convicted him under the provisions of the Arms Act. In fact, the charge was against him under Section 5 of the Tada Act. Of course, the Tada court has acquitted him.
That's right.
See, that is a different issue because the prosecuting agency
for
of the
Tada.
CBI.
That's
now,
the problem.
Mr. Majid Memon, you will appreciate. Mr. Majid Memon, Mr. Majid Memon, if you are not allowing me to convince my point, then I won't be in a position to
continue.
So, Mr. Majid Memon, kindly remember.
Please carry on.
Mr. Sanjay Dutt acquired a 1 pistol, 9mm pistol, from a notorious criminal, that is Mr. Qayyum, who was very close associated to Dawood Ibrahim. And he did acquire without any valid authorized license. Why did he acquire? He said that he acquired all these type of firearms only for the self-protection. When his father was an MP, they were having the police guard. Then he acquired for his own protection. That is absolutely the self-foolish reason which he had assigned in the trial court. So I don't think that he requires any leniency, and now we should say, no, he being a matinee idol, some leniency should have been shown by the court. No. I think that is, we are overreaching the
Ujwal, don't get excited or emotional, Mr. Ujwal. With respect to you, I must say you would have had a good case.
No, I'm not excited. I'm sorry.
In securing his conviction under Tada. You did not do it. That's why.
Well, Mr. Majid Memon
didn't get him.
Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Majid Memon, I have very fundamental issues on this.
That's it.
My first question is,
please.
Is the whole country to believe that Sanjay Dutt was just a young man, by the way, about 33 years old, not that young, a young man who liked to play with arms, And that's why, because the young man wanted to play with arms, he got in touch with Abu Saleh, this Anis Ibrahim, and they came in a car which was carrying the ammunition, and they had made a cavity at the bottom of the car in which all this ammunition was being carried and was being transported. And senior police officials tells me these arms and ammunition was not being transported to supply to Sanjay Dutt to give him 1 or 2 guns. There were hand grenades. There was some serious ammunition aimed at the purpose of creating disturbance, targeting the police, and continuing with a cycle of violence in the city of Mumbai. Now, I don't think Sanjay Dutt was such a lost case. No, was Sanjay Dutt such a lost case that he didn't know what was going on?
Arnav, do you think that this learned trial judge did not understand all this? Did he not take into consideration all these facts, this evidence? He did, and yet he held that Sanjay Dutt cannot be convicted for an offence under Terrorist and Disruptive Act. Now, you can't go beyond that. You see,
my question is
all
this.
Facts which have been described here.
We
can't go. And Supreme Court has approved that now.
My question is this.
Supreme Court has approved his exoneration for offences under
Did Sanjay Dutt say? Did Sanjay Dutt say?
We can't discuss
Did Sanjay Dutt say that I got the arms at the instance of Anis Ibrahim? Is Anis Ibrahim the younger brother of Dawood Ibrahim or not? Were there several telephone call records which show that Sanjay Dutt was in a constant touch with Anis Ibrahim? Did Sanjay Dutt make telephone calls to Anis Ibrahim's number at the White House in Dubai from his home number or not?
Arnav, these facts were not examined, were not placed before the trial court. Did he not examine that? Did Supreme Court not see all this?
Intercepts cannot be admissible as evidence. Intercepts are not admissible as evidence.
I am sorry to say this, Arnav. I disagree with both you as well as Mr. Nikab. That look here, you can't comment on something which has been not just settled by the trial court.
Mr. Memon, you will agree.
Yes.
Continue.
Mr. Memon, you will agree that the finding of the trial court that is acquittal, so far as is acquittal of Sanjay Dutt is concerned from Tara Act, that has not been challenged in the Supreme Court. So we don't know actually what would have happened if that finding would have been the challenge in the Supreme Court. So at present, what I would like to say that what is your contention that's being a Sanjay Dutt and matinee and all, the judgment is delivered after 20 years, therefore some leniency should have been shown. That is, I think we are making much fuss out of the
Should you blame Sanjay Dutt for not filing the appeal?
I am Mr. Majid Memon.
Blamed for this.
Mr. Majid Memon.
Not go in appeal.
No, Mr. Majid Memon, I want to get in Mahesh Bhatt and YC Pawar also at this stage. You see, I am simply discussing a more basic question today. My basic question is, here is a man, Sanjay Dutt. He goes to Dubai. In Dubai, he is introduced to Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood introduces him to his brother Anis. Then they go, the entire film unit shooting there goes to his house for dinner. Am I right or wrong? And at dinner, Sanjay Dutt interacts with Iqbal Mirchi, Sharad Shetty, Chota Rajan. And I cannot believe, Mr. Pawar, that a 33-year-old man called Sanjay Dutt did not know who Dawood Ibrahim, Iqbal Mirchi, Sharad Shetty and Chota Rajan were. Was he that innocent as he was making himself out?
There is no question of his innocence. There is no question of not being involved with the crime. In fact, I am surprised and I am at loss. God forbid, I had to quit the investigation for some reason or other, which I can explain it. If I were there, I am 100% sure that I could have...
Why did you have to quit the investigation?
No, because I was kept in dark about the arrest of Sanjay Dutt, despite the promise by then Commissioner Mr. Samra that all the accused, important accused, whosoever takes them in custody shall be given in my custody, because I was made head of the investigation of detection and all that. So while doing that, after around 40 days, when around 47 accused were arrested during my tenure, then that night I was by hook or crook sent home because they thought that I need a rest daily, though I never told that I need
what are you
rest.
saying? You were being kept away from the case.
That is what I am telling.
Why were you being kept away from the case?
That they know it best. I think because Sanjay Dutt was not to be given in my custody.
Why?
So that I do not interrogate him and get the truth, because I knew the truth, which was told to me by Samir Ingora, Hanif Karawala.
Which is what? Come on, reveal it tonight on the program.
3 suitcases of arms, containing arms, We had taken
One
to
second.
Sanjay.
At that point of time, can you tell me, in that point of time, the year 1993, what was your designation and where were you posted?
I was Additional Commissioner, Central Region, wherein the blast at Plaza, blast at near Senabon,
Okay.
all these incidences took place. And since, despite my opposition, Mr. Samra forced me to take over the investigation, I told him that there are 3 reasons involved in this
So
crime.
I want you to tell Majid Memon, who's taking a slightly, if I may say so, sympathetic position, not
Yes,
surprising.
please, I will answer this.
No, one sec. First, I want, first, Mr. Majid Memon, I want Mr. YC Pawar, who's making a very important comment. Mr. YC Pawar, tell me what you encountered in the case about Sanjay Dutt. What was Sanjay Dutt involved in?
I have highest respect.
Yeah, go. Now let him speak and then I'll come back to you, sir. Mr. Pawar.
Mr. YC Pawar.
What I am telling is the hard truth.
No,
Go ahead.
Whether it is substantiated by record or not, that I don't care. Point is that I know that Samir Ingora and Hanif Kadawala, when they were interrogated, when I came to know about Hanif Kadawala and Samir Ingora through Tiger Memon's skip, who told me that if Tiger Memon is not available, then Samir Ingora and Hanif Kadawala do bring 15,000 rupees per month, every month to our house on 1st of the month. And this Samir Ingora and Hanif Kadawala, when they were brought and interrogated, they told me that it is, they had a dialogue with Anis Ibrahim or Dawood Ibrahim, and he told that we are sending some weapons to you and they should be kept with Sanjay. We have spoken to Sanjay. He has agreed to keep the weapons and these weapons to be kept there. As and when you need, you take them. And if Sanjay needs some weapons, keep some weapons with him. This is what they had told me.
I have 2 questions to you. Why did the Mumbai police raid Sanjay Dutt's house?
No,
is it true that the Mumbai police did not raid Sanjay Dutt's house despite being told about the presence of a weapon on the premises?
No, because he was not available. But teams were sent. He was not available. And to be very honest, I had a lot other work in my hand because there were a number of accused available.
Is it true that the Mumbai police recorded a conversation between Sanjay Dutt and Chota Shakil?
That I am not fully aware.
Were there conversations between Sanjay Dutt and other members of the underworld or not?
That is what Samir Ingora and Hanif Kadawala told me, that Anis had probably spoken to Sanjay Dutt and he had told that they will be sending 3 suitcases which he should harbor, and as and when their men need them, he should supply those things available in those suitcases.
Mr. Majid Memon, the entire premise that Sanjay Dutt was an innocent man who just was sucked into this whole thing is not really coming across.
Arnav, Mr. YC Pawar is a friend of mine. I know him very closely. He has been a very hard-working police officer and a very high-ranking police officer. But as a high-ranking police officer, he must know. I need not tell him this. But since he is telling this publicly in the show, that his personal knowledge may be anything. But then that personal knowledge is not evidence. And therefore, it cannot be judged.
Neither I am laying a claim. I know fully because I am also a law graduate.
Mr. Pawar, and secondly, 1 minute, Mr. Pawar, please give me 1 minute. And your own admission now that you were asked not to touch this investigation at a particular point of time. Now, we cannot rule out the possibility that probably your senior officers thought that you may not be fair or vindictive towards A or B, that therefore in the interest of justice you may be asked to go away.
It was too late for them to realize whole life, entire career of mine. This was my second tenure under Mr. Samra. I had worked under Mr. Samra as a deputy commissioner. So why the hell he gave me the investigation? Why he, when the crime was in the 3 regions, Mr. Majid, you will know that when the crime was within 3 regions, it was not restricted to my region. It was the duty of central agency to investigate the case.
Correct.
Instead giving it to crime branch, why I was made head. Why I was asked to sign the order for Commissioner of Police, forming a squad to detect the case. And why at a particular time, they realized that I would be vindictive with the person. I would be vindictive only with Sanjay Dutt, not others. Others, if I am vindictive, it's okay. I should not be vindictive with Sanjay
Dutt. Mr. Pawar, you are aware that territorially the offences have occurred in different parts of Mumbai and various police
you are trying to show something which is not against me anywhere throughout my career.
Okay, 1 second. Gentlemen,
No, it's all. I'm
Gentlemen.
not doing anything.
No, I am sorry.
Gentlemen, I want to say one thing.
Doing anything.
We are not here to pass judgment on Sanjay Dutt. The judgment has been passed by the highest court of this country.
We are
And I'm
just
placing that. No,
discussing.
but we have a right to discuss a bigger issue. Why is there
That's right.
this whole argument of sympathy for Sanjay Dutt? Now, Mahesh
Not
Bhatt.
sympathy, it is
What?
globalization.
It's what?
Globalization of a criminal.
Okay.
No, that's not correct, Mr.
Mahesh
Pawar.
Bhatt.
Please, you have
No,
to
do
keep-
we have such sympathies with common criminal? Do we have?
No,
AK-47 was found, which was not available with the police.
And discussing it.
I am saying it again once again.
We can't be vindictive to somebody at the same time.
The court has decided. We, however, are looking back at what has happened, and there are some people who are sympathetic. Mahesh Bhatt is one of those people who, through the whole day and the evening, has been saying, I feel sympathetic for Sanjay Dutt. I am close to Sanjay Dutt. I feel bad for Sanjay Dutt. Now, I want you to tell us, first of all. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You got the question.
Assuming for a moment that Sanjay Dutt is such a heinous criminal, and I happen to be a close friend of his, don't I have the right to go on my bended knees and ask this land of Mahatmas for mercy? I am not saying that justice has not been delivered. I think India has made itself proud. It has shown that there is no discrimination, that even a superstar will be treated exactly the way a so-called unknown person will be treated. But we feel, and since we have our emotional biases, we are close to him, we have got our blind spots, we feel that he has committed an offense of being in possession of a firearm in a notified area. But by no stretch of imagination can Sanjay Dutt be stigmatized as a man who was remotely responsible, was aware of the conspiracy. And I think the Tara court had vindicated him, and I'm very happy that he has finally got a rap merely on the charge of possession of a weapon and not being stigmatized as a terrorist who had designs to wage war against the nation and kill his own people. Sanjay will have to face the consequences of his action, and we will prepare him to take it on his chin and deal with life like a man would. But we, as his supporters, as his friends, because we have an emotional bond with him, are merely asking for mercy. It is your privilege to deny me this land which boasts of Karuna. Can deny me.
No, one second. Don't make an emotional argument, Mahesh Bhatt. I'm sorry. Don't emotionalize the issue on the Newshour tonight. Why don't you discuss factually?
I cannot.
No, 1 second. You would say.
Cannot, but
no, Mr. Bhatt.
I cannot but emotionalize it. I think compassion is due when the person is unworthy of it. It's only when you find yourself unworthy of compassion that compassion has any meaning.
Want to ask you.
Otherwise,
I want to ask you.
That's all I'm saying.
I want to ask you whether you think in the year 1991, Sanjay Dutt was such an impressionable young man that he would go to Dubai, meet Dawood Ibrahim, Iqbal Mirchi, Sharad Shetty, Anish Ibrahim and Chota Rajan, and not know what these people were, how these people were targeting his country. He was not aware about the underworld, or was, 1 minute, was a dalliance between Bollywood and the underworld a known and accepted fact in 1991?
Arnab, we have personally reprimanded Sanjay Dutt.
What do you mean reprimanded?
That he has to pay for. We personally feel that he has played footsies with the mob, but he has not been remotely.
What do you mean reprimanded? You are making it look.
You are making it. He's not been a foot soldier.
No,
he's not been a part of. He's not been a part of their racket.
No. I want Ujjwal Nikam to come back on. Ujjwal Nikam, almost indulgently once again, Mahesh Bhatt says we have told him off. We have given him a rap.
Not me. 20 years.
I'm
18
really
years
sorry
he has
that
been feeling like a criminal.
Well, many more people also have been waiting for justice. And many stronger
Mr.
sentences
Bhatt,
have been
Well,
served to
Arnab,
them.
well, Arnab,
Mr.
I
Bhatt.
think it's your privilege to deny him mercy. I don't think we have a right to mercy, but we certainly can plead for mercy.
Right.
And yes, if you think this is emotionalizing it, I am emotionalizing it because that's the only route that is left for us.
Mr. YC Pawar, I want you to respond to Mahesh Bhatt. He says, I'm making an emotional appeal. Now, we are not discussing the case or the precise merits of the case. We are discussing whether or not Sanjay Dutt is a fit subject for sympathy of the kind that is being shown by Mahesh Bhatt tonight.
No, it is his view that he is feeling passionate for him. He may not feel same passion for others. So it is his individual thing.
What do you mean, not for others, is it?
Others means they are not connected to him. This man is connected with him. He has a friendship. Yeah. He has love and affection for him. As well, he may not have love and affection for other criminals like that. So he has the right to feel passionate for him. We can't object it.
Let's come to a very critical part of this entire issue in the last part of our discussion. Mr. YC Pawar, at that point of time, you were the Additional Commissioner of Police and head of the police team investigating into the blast.
Yeah.
You say there was political pressure.
I did not say that. There was no pressure on me. Nobody can put a pressure on me. Because I was advised, I was rather told to go home that night. I left at 1 p.m. Mahim police station. 7 o'clock I get a call that Sanjay Dutt is arrested.
No, you have been quoted here as saying, how is it that all the accused get convicted in one kind of case and only one is tried under a different one?
That is what I am saying. I don't know. So many things have happened. So many things have come to me. But I don't have any evidence. Again, people will talk about the evidence, which I don't have. But it's a fact. There is a sequence of events that I was asked literally go home. I was kept in dark for about arrest of Sanjay Dutt. He was not given in my custody while all other accused were in my custody. And further, there were so many things. His arrest was just like a celebrity. He is brought.
When he was brought back from Mauritius, take me to the day when he was brought back from Mauritius. He was arrested at the airport.
Yeah.
And he was handed over to the crime branch.
He was straightway taken to crime branch.
Why was he not brought to you?
That is what I did not ask, because it was their privilege whether to keep me in the investigation, whether to throw me out of the investigation, because it was Commissioner of Police job.
Is that why you withdrew from the investigations?
I withdrew because I got annoyed, because why I was kept in dark, and my DCP who was with me tells me at 7 o'clock that he is arrested, and I asked him, how is it when you got him at 1:45? I left at 1. So he is informant as if waiting me to go out of the police station so that he will pass on the information and then they will bring him.
Now, when we are looking at the whole case here, Mr. Majid Memon, how is what YC Pawar saying today not relevant to your decision of whether or not you feel sympathetic for Sanjay Dutt?
No, I want to tell you one thing. See, if what Mr. Pawar is trying to convey to the audience now here is that probably against the interest of justice, he was shunted out and therefore justice has suffered. Now, I would only humbly ask him a question, that why these facts were not brought to the notice of the learned court, which has nothing to do with politicization or with supporting somebody or obstructing somebody. Now, this should have been pointed out.
Mr. Memon,
we have done disservice to justice
you would be aware
by keeping this quiet. Why you are saying it now?
Mr. Memon, you asked him a question. Why were you quiet all this while? He's responding to you.
Mr. Memon, you might be aware that Listen,
Mr.
please
Pawar,
listen.
1 minute.
I am responding to you.
Hear me out for a minute. Mr. Pawar, hold on. Please hear me for a minute, then please reply thereafter. My question is that what you are telling now, 20 years after the incident, why did you not speak out publicly in the year 1993, and why did you not bring it to the notice of the learned court, who would have made sure that ends of justice must be met, and why an honest officer has been kept aside? This needed to be probed. You are saying it after 20 years now, Mr. Pawar. That's all that I am asking you.
I had understood your point right in the beginning, but you wanted to repeat it. I heard it again. Point is that when I left the investigation, I was not cited anywhere in the investigation papers. You were there. You show me a single paper on which vice power figures. This was the internal matter.
Well, that's
of
not the argument.
Please now, I have heard you. Now you please listen me. You can't stop me. Let me explain my side.
Please tell me. I will tell
please,
you.
you wanted me to respond
Okay.
to your query. I am responding.
Please do it. Do it.
So I was, once I left the case, I did not even turn back because it is not my habit. If I wanted to be revengeful or if I wanted to listen, please listen. Now you let me complete first. If I wanted that, I could have as well misbehaved and I could have gone to the court and said this. But my point is that since I was entrusted duty up to a certain limit, once my limit was over, I was not bothered as to what happened and where. Now people are asking me. Now people are asking me. I am telling. Till such time nobody asked me. I did not.
I have one simple question. I don't want to go back too much into the past, but I want to understand a little bit about Mahesh Bhatt's point of view here. Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, what weapons did Sanjay Dutt possess? 3 AK-56 rifles, 9 magazines, 450 cartridges, a 9mm pistol and over 20 hand grenades. Now they say that I wanted to protect myself. Tell me frankly, do you want to go to war? Or do you want to protect yourself with this kind of ammunition? Do you yourself believe, Mahesh Bhatt, that he was simply keeping a few guns with him to protect his family? What is your hunch?
Arnab, I cannot defend what is indefensible. The court has rightly wrapped him and charged him for possessing those weapons. We also lived through those terrible times. We did not even pick up a lathi from anybody.
Exactly.
So, as you sow, so shall you reap. We are not saying that he will not have to face the consequences of his action. All that we are saying that having gone through the process of 18 months and 18 years, we felt that since he was showing an inclination to be a reformed individual, a family man, that nomad was being transformed into another entity, would it be right to push him back into the prison, which would take away all that has flowered in him? This was a question.
Why should he be treated differently? Why should he be treated differently? Law is about precedent. Law does not judge whether anyone is a film star, a prominent person, or the personal status of the individual, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt.
I thank God it doesn't. Thank God it doesn't. And I said I'm proud that the Indian judiciary has sent this message loud and clear.
And so are we.
That whether you are a Sanjay Dutt or you're nobody, you will not be discriminated. But we are asking, having heard the verdict, we are saying justice has been delivered. But we then come and ask that is the definition of justice this, that only living by the book, by the law, or it hopes to go to another point, which is reforming an individual, correcting him, and seeing him readjust is the question. Now, if you do not want to even me to address that question, I will shut up. I'm in an absolute minority. Believe me, my fraternity doesn't have the clout to take on the might of the judiciary, and we respectfully would submit to the word of the judiciary.
You spoke to Sanjay Dutt today, Mr. Bhatt?
What our heart compels us.
You spoke to him today?
Sorry?
Did you speak to him today? Have you spoken to him?
I spoke to him, and I've spoken to him just a little while ago, and I think he has just about barely recovered from the shock, and I think he is showing signs that he is willing to take it on his chin. But his only lament is he is realizing now, rather late in the day, that your actions impact everyone. His deeds are now impacting his innocent children, his innocent wife, and all of us. We are here on the streets of Mumbai, again talking about him after 18 years. It is he, through that stupid mistake of his, who has hurled us into this bottomless abyss. So we stand with him. We only plead. We do not demand anything from the nation. If you think we are worthy, give it to us. Otherwise, we will push him and ask him to face the music, because he is the architect of the destiny. He is the captain of his own soul.
Absolutely, he is. And I don't want to sound cliched at the very end as I wrap up this discussion, but Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, Mr. Majid Memon and Mr. YC Pawar, sometimes you are known and sometimes you are judged by the company that you keep. Maybe Sanjay Dutt also would be thinking about that 20 years later. Gentlemen, thank you very much for talking to me about the Sanjay Dutt judgment. Thank you.
Thank you.